stupid chicken. So welcome back to DHamDIY. As many of you know from the title of this video, we ended up selling our homestead. Now, there's many reasons as to why we did that. One of them being the opportunity just sort of presented itself in the market, real estate market. The price was right, and many of you will find that there's this opportunity right now, or at least there was, about a year ago when we ended up selling this. You can buy a property further out into the country for a whole lot cheaper than was previously anticipated, right? Compared to what you could sell your property closer to the city for. Now this property was an hour away, from a big city, but we ended up just making the decision to go ahead and sell it. And so that's what we did, right? It kind of pains me to see all the work we put into, and many of you had followed along and saw, putting in the orchard and building the fence and putting in the driveway and waiting on the water and sewer utilities and putting in electric with the power pole and planting roses and daylilies and all these different other, plants and building the hugelkultur beds. It really is a shame in one way, but there's a silver lining in it all, in that now we're going to be able to restart and do it with a lot more experience, right? We didn't really know what we're doing when we're going into this property, but now we got a whole different viewpoint on how to do it. And we'll go ahead and show you that now. So this is what we ended up getting alternatively, right? We got a 10-acre parcel, fully wooded, beautiful pine trees in deep East Texas. Now, you might be wondering, what happened, it just wasn't enough. A lot of people tell you that a half acre is plenty for a homestead and that, it's all you need. And to me, that's sowing seeds of false hope. There's a lot of stuff you can't do on a half acre, let alone if it's in a, kind of like a neighborhood type situation, which if it's a half acre, it probably is. This is a lot more property, and it's a little bit thinner of a lot. You might be able to hear some road noise behind us. I cleared out a driveway, and we're not even, 300 feet into the property, and the property goes back about 1,700 feet or something like that. I think it's like 250 feet wide. Little skinny 10 acres, right? But it goes deep, deep, deep into the woods. So what we're going to be doing is just clearing out that, getting a driveway in here at least. I haven't even been able to see the entirety of the property. There could be ponds back there. There could be cabins. I mean, I don't know. More than likely, it's probably just wooded. But, yeah, I haven't even really been able to see what's going on with this property because I couldn't walk in it. It was that thick with woods. And you can see some good-sized pine trees. A lot of it's just some dead stuff or some real thin, skinny. It just needs to be thinned out, right? Get the sunlight in here and start growing some stuff. There's some wild grapes everywhere, loblolly pines, probably shortleaf pines, and sweet gums. I have seen a couple of oaks, and when I was walking the property back in March, or maybe mid-February when nothing was grown and you were able to walk in here really well, there was a beautiful dogwood flowering, and I have some theories about the dogwood, but yeah, you know, stuff like that we're gonna keep, you know, the beautiful trees, but a lot of this thin stuff, a lot of the thin gums or sweet gums that are, you know, that thin around, go ahead and cut them. Yeah, this is gonna be a lot more to work with, and you're gonna see it all firsthand, right? How we're surveying it, how we're doing all that and figuring out the lot lines. There's no fences around it or anything. It's just a slab of woods. So you're gonna see how we're doing all that. Yeah, you know what we did is we bought a GPS, a Garmin 64SX. It was on sale. Normally it's like $350. Got it for $214 at Bass Pro Shops. And what I did with it is I went to the County Appraisal District website, right? From there I got a very estimated, you know, you can see kind of, and they say like, this cannot be used for illegal purposes. This is merely just for, you know, yada, yada, yada. You go on there, you can find the lot lines, a very rough estimate of where the lot lines are, right? And from there, you can mirror it on Google Earth, right? So you find out on Google Earth, and you could even do something on maybe Photoshop where you make one layer transparent and overlay it over another layer. But anyway, went to Google Earth, found the approximation of the property corners, got the GPS coordinates from Google Earth, and from there you can use that Garmin GPS to type in the coordinates to see the lot. And although, you know, maybe we're probably conservatively 10 feet off, let's say, but on a lot that's 1,700 feet deep and about 250 feet wide, yeah, you know, that's that'll work. So I know I'm just putting a driveway in where I can drive back there and see what this property has, because I can't even walk in here really. So that's what we did. We're probably 300 feet in, and yeah, you know, we're gonna do a lot more clearing. You're gonna be able to see that, and then once we're able to get back there to where at least we can start staking off stuff, we're gonna get a lot more detailed. Lot lines and all that stuff, you know. And this is something that's very informational if you're buying a property, especially out in the middle of nowhere, you know, where you can see how to do it, because it is very. I called up 8 different survey companies trying to get an estimate. None of them answered. Then I had to call the county tax office and say, hey, do y'all know any good surveyors around here? Because I called all of them and none of them answered, you know. Just due to COVID and you know, all this nonsense, you know, low interest rates, and even just inflation right now, the rampant inflation, it seems like real estate is the only hedge you can put your money in against inflation. A lot of the stocks and everything are going up as well, but real estate is a solid play if you're trying to maintain your store of wealth, right? Well, everybody's got the same idea. Everyone's out buying property, so it's very difficult now to do anything. Whether you're going to the abstract to transfer, you know, get a warranty deed transfer, or you're going to a surveyor trying to get your property surveyed, they're swamped. They're 6-8 weeks back, you know. So anyway, I ended up calling the tax office and saying, hey, y'all got any recommendations? I called, you know, all the surveyors around. Nobody's wanting to do anything. Nobody answered. They said, oh, I know a guy. I talked to him. He said, you know, yada, 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 it'll be $800 to $1,000. And I'm like, okay, well, so, you know, that's something I might do later along the lines, right? If we're getting serious and putting, you know, a house here or something along those lines, you're going to want a survey. But if you're doing small, just putting a little driveway in the middle, just directly in the middle, you'll be all right. So that's what we're doing. I camped out here last night, you know, when I was getting this driveway through, and it's good looking. You know, it's a beautiful property. I think there's plenty more surprises that await us right down the line. So let's go ahead and start clearing everything out and take a look. And funny story, I was using a Poulon Pro, some brand new Poulon I had bought, 18-inch blade on it or whatever, 18-inch chain or you know, and I started using a steel mini, and it was unbelievable the difference that made. If you're gonna buy a chainsaw, and everybody knows steel is the way to go, but steel is really the way to go. This Poulon, you know, it's 2 or 3. I mean, the chain's just getting loose, and it's, you know, having trouble with starting and all this nonsense, right? that steel mini, you know, one pull and it's ready to go, and do some serious work. And the blade was nice and sharp on it. I don't know if I was probably dogging out the Poulon Pro, but you know what I'm having to do, being that this is a driveway, I can't really just leave the stumps up because my truck is gonna boom, you know, and it's slamming the stumps up under the chassis and stuff. I gotta cut the stumps pretty much at the dirt level in order to drive on it. And you can see just how soft this soil is. All this is organic matter. Beautiful, beautiful humus, or hummus, or however you want to pronounce it. You can't even, it's just all organic matter. And then under that is sand. So it's very, very squishy. It's like walking on a mattress out here. And yeah, you know, just a little stump that tall when your truck's coming in, it digs up under it, and then you gotta, whoa, go over it, you know. And especially with the lawnmower too. I got the lawnmower out here. I'm doing small jobs with it. I gotta get right up at the dirt level, so it's dulling my blades like crazy, you know. What I'm doing is I'm just cutting the trees, you know, maybe a couple inches from dirt, and then I'll go back later and cut them all. That way I can keep my blade sharper longer. I don't know when I'm gonna have to go buy a new blade, but it won't be long, you know. We're gonna have to be going through blades like crazy out here. And one thing that's also weird is we talked about inflation. The price of lumber nearly quadrupled. I think in 2019, late 2019, early 2020, it was about $200 a share for lumber futures or whatever. And it went all the way up to $900. I don't know if it's out there now, but point being, if you went into the hardware store recently to buy some lumber, you know that, I mean, it's a joke. I've been hearing, you know, what, $30 to $50 a sheet for chipboard? For OSB? Are you kidding me? That's ridiculous. So when I bought this property, I was thinking, okay, well, worst case, you know, we can maybe call the logging company to log out maybe 5 acres so we can have a nice pasture for some goats, some cows, you know, something like that. You know, I was talking to people in the area, and they're saying the logging company is only paying about $500 an acre. And back in 2018, I think they were paying, you know, $2,000 to $3,000 an acre. That's crazy. Are you kidding me? What? What kind of joke is that? Lumber's more expensive than it's ever been, and yet they're paying, you know, just dirt. Just terrible. I mean, they're really having their way with you on that. So, you know, I said, well, heck no. I'll buy or rent a lumber mill and mill all the lumber myself and use it for stuff that I want. You know, build a little outhouse or you know, whatever. So another thing to just keep in mind when you're watching this, you know, a lot of this lumber is good lumber. You know, I'm cutting stuff that's, the logging companies, I heard anything over 4 inches in diameter they can use, but you know, you can see I got about 4 inches thick lumber on this fire here, you know, and that goes to show you how much there is out here, and they're not paying dirt for it. So yeah, you know, dirt's probably more expensive than than the lumber. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get cutting.